Yeah, absolutely. And it's the context, right? It's funny. I hadn't thought about this until just now, but so I have a 6 and a 9 year old, right? And I got to tell you, being a parent and raising these two kids has taught me more about leadership, um, in some ways than some of the things that I've observed, right? With my 6 and 9 year old, so much can be done so much more simply without the "oh, dads," right? If I just give them context, right, and cues like, "Hey, listen, guys, tomorrow we're gonna go and do A, B, and C. So that means in the morning, I'm gonna need you guys to be with it, right? We gotta, brush our teeth, get our shoes on, make sure to have breakfast." And it's when I spring it on them that morning, right? "Hey, we gotta hurry up, you didn't brush your teeth," and right? More reactionary, that puts them in a tough position, right? And additionally, with the context, we're doing A, B, and C because we got no food in the fridge. So we got to go to the supermarket. B, you guys were the ones who wanted to do gym, right? So we're going to gymnastics in the afternoon. And C, we've got to do this other thing, right? Giving them all that context, reminding them of why we're doing all the things that we're doing, really helps them uh, get it together. And you know, I'm not trying to stretch the analogy, right? We're more than just 6 and 9 year olds, but everybody can be so focused on what they're doing, right? On their task at hand, that we can lose that perspective, right? And that greater picture. And so a good leader is good about contextualizing things, reminding us, and keeping everyone's values and mission aligned, right?
Absolutely. So, Oliver, what is it that inspires you?
Oh, that's a big question. Yeah, I really like soccer. Um, but, as a scientist, I think for me, it's that prospect of discovery, right? Um, Adding knowledge to the small little corner of biology that I'm working on right now. Um, but yeah, I guess most of all, the prospect of changing people's lives, right? How cool would it be to say that you were a part of an organization that developed the first therapy for disease X, right? Or a better therapy for disease Y. For me, that that that's an ultimate inspiration. Um, I'm very proud to have been associated with programs that made it to the clinic with 1200 Pharma. Very proud that we were able to help some patients there, and I hope that we can do the same thing for Holoclara.
Milestones to be proud of for sure. What
Yeah,
concerns you?
yeah. I think in today's climate, what concerns me is, generally speaking, we talked a little bit about this, how our society at large, our greater society, even our global society, regards science, right? The lack of um, an appreciation for why it's so important, right? The current administration's approach to science in general, to university funding and how that curtails innovation at universities. I mean, universities are the place where there are innovation engines, right? That's where these discoveries and innovations, 90% of them, probably more, come from, right? Everything from biotech to the chip in the back of your phone, right? Has a root in some discovery or some invention that happened in a university research setting. And so that worries me, right? Because I think that it's really important for our future that we continue to support that, and that we continue to have a robust and vibrant research community in our country.
I couldn't agree more. I think the 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 interesting thing to me will be the impact that what's going on right now has long term.
Mhm.
And I said this to people before, and I have no way of like pointing a finger right now at like, where that horizon will be. However, I've heard repeatedly from my friends who are in universities who are saying, "Hey, look, other universities from other countries are here actually on campus recruiting
Yeah.
our best researchers and taking them away. And
Yeah.
by the way, not having that next generation cancer drug or next generation immune therapy funding, could actually kill that next generation company. And so it just won't be there. I mean, there will be a vacuum of some sort. And I was sort of indicating the same thing even prior to what's going on right now. That look,
Hmm.
I mean, just the tightening of VC funding, the lack of the same level government funding for cancer plus other therapies um, is something I think everybody should be questioning. I think we should all be saying, look, why can't we have a more balanced, sort of view on the world? And maybe there is somebody out there that has that, right? But I also think, given where we currently are, the current struggles are just going to lead to eventually somebody turning around and going, "Hey, where's that thing that's always, right here?" And oh, by the way, the, all of the offices that are working on, bringing out the science are just saying, "Oh, look, we couldn't fund this anymore because we didn't, frankly, have funding."
Yeah.
Um, will be a really, I don't know, sad time, I guess is the best way to summarize it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think you made a really important point. The consequences are immediate, but the long-term consequences are really, really scary. And we're not going to really see those for a number of years. Um, but that's, I think, the more worrying aspect of this.
yeah. Last question. What excites you?
Yeah. A lot of things, soccer. No. um,
What team? I
I
mean, you keep mentioning soccer. So
Oh,
what?
I'm an LAFC fan. I'm here in Los Angeles. We're out of the Club World Cup, but we had a good go at it. Um, yeah, but science related. You know, I think that if you think back to like the 1980s and how research was done then, right? And how then research has been evolving, right? And even before the 1980s, right? I'm just thinking of the 1980s because some real inflections happened there. But with the advancements that are happening today and certainly in the future, like it's just so exciting to think. And I don't know that it's a dream. I think this will continue to happen where we're going to start being in a place where we call more diseases cured, right? And there's not just therapies, there's cures for those diseases. I'm actually pretty excited about AI. I think AI can be a really powerful tool for researchers, even for time efficiency. Like for example, I think AI is incredibly powerful for summarizing papers, right, and taking away really important points from them. And I've used that quite a bit because we're all really really busy, and you're trying to make the most of the time that you can, right? So I'm always an advocate for and am looking for places to enhance efficiencies. And I think AI can help in that way a lot. How AI helps with research itself is still, I think, an open question. There are much smarter people working on that than me. Um, but for the day to day tasks that can be, time consuming, like reading a paper, it can be really, really useful. And then
Yeah,
the other
I mean,
thing,
we certainly use it all the time on my side. So yeah, I
for
couldn't be a
sure.
bigger advocate as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's great at curating, the information that you need. We're working on a protocol. It's the first time we're doing an assay. Do we use this acid or do we use that acid, right? At what concentration? How long should we incubate it, right? And it can give you a slew of references to go and cross check it against, and great suggestions for what might be the most pertinent number for your particular assay, right? So I mean, it's a powerful tool. I was going to say one other thing that I'm excited about is how biotech is growing in the greater Los Angeles area. So Los Angeles isn't traditionally thought of as a biotech hub. Um, but more so, more and more so, you're getting companies that choose to stay here